Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a Spain news update. And the Spanish government has said that it's not planning new restrictions despite the emergence of a new COVID-19 variant. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, good news here in Spain today, as the government is not contemplating a return to restrictions despite the Omicron and the fear of the long weekend of the Constitution. The appearance of the new Omicron variant of the coronavirus has once again put the world on its guard. In Spain, at least 2 cases have already been detected in Madrid and another 2 in Catalonia. The situation is worrying the government, above all because of the long weekend at the beginning of December, when there will be a lot of travelling, crowds of people on the streets, and gatherings with family and friends. This scenario could lead to a relaxation of preventative measures. Nevertheless, the government hopes to contain this situation without returning to restrictions. They believe that the high percentage of the population that has been vaccinated and the use of masks could help to control the situation. The government's intention is to tackle the epidemiological scenario without stopping the economy. So, fairly clear, the government is worried about the new COVID-19 variant Omicron, but the economy is more important. And the government has faith in current measures already in place, for example, high vaccination and mask wearing. However, various autonomous communities around the country have now turned to COVID certificates to try to get the health situation under control. And as we can see here, 7 autonomous communities now require it or are about to require it in nightlife and other activities. The increase in COVID-19 infections during the autumn in Spain is leading more and more autonomous communities to require the COVID passport to access certain services or participate in different activities. 7, Catalonia, Aragon, Navarra, the Balearic Islands, Galicia, the Valencian community and the Basque country have already implemented it or will do so in the coming days. Andalusia and the Canary Islands are awaiting judicial approval and several communities are studying it. Murcia, for its part, allows nightlife venues that want to operate without capacity restrictions to request it. Only Extremadura, Castilla-La Mancha and Madrid rule it out for the moment and are not even considering it. After the withdrawal of many of the restrictions that were lifted before the summer as vaccination progressed and the incidence of the disease decreased, the COVID certificate is now becoming the main measure, along with masks and the safety distance, with which the regional governments are seeking to tackle the increase in cases, with their sights set on the long weekend of the Constitution and the Christmas holidays. So COVID passports slowly creeping into people's lives in various autonomous communities around the country, and as we saw there, only 3 places here in Spain are not contemplating it at the moment. But the question is, are COVID certificates a useful way to fight the spread of the virus? And according to this headline in El País, health technicians and the autonomous communities question the usefulness of the COVID certificate to curb the 6th wave. The COVID certificate is becoming the new tool that more and more autonomous communities, 8 so far, are using to try to curb the 6th wave of the coronavirus. Their technicians and those of the Ministry of Health, however, consider that the measure is not effective against contagion. In a report by these specialists, who make up the Alerts Committee of the Interterritorial Council of the National Health System, to which El País has had access, they list 4 aspects in favour of requesting this document in public places and 8 against. The pros of requesting the COVID certificate to enter public establishments are limited, in the opinion of the experts, to encouraging vaccination, stimulating the need for it among the population, transmitting the message that there continues to be a risk of infection by the coronavirus, and that it has judicial backing in some communities. In contrast to these arguments, they put forward other compelling arguments against its various shortcomings in tackling infections. Firstly, the report states there is no evidence this measure has an effect in reducing transmission of the virus. So when it comes to using COVID certificates here in Spain to help stop the transmission of COVID-19, the jury still seems to be out on whether they are effective or not. Now let's have a look at a summary of the health situation in Spain, and we can see that accumulated incidence rate has now cracked the 200 mark and is sitting at 208. Hospital pressure remains steady at 3%, and there are 3,847 COVID patients hospitalised around the country. When it comes to ICU, we can see that pressure in ICU has increased to 7.8%, and there are now 713 COVID patients in ICU. If we have a look at a map on the left, we can see that one autonomous community here in Spain, Navarra, in the dark red colour there, has a very high risk scenario at the moment. Now, one of Spain's biggest companies, Inditex, had a bad day on the stock market yesterday because it announced that it was changing presidents. In fact, Inditex lost 5.6 billion euros in the stock market yesterday after the announcement of the replacement of Pablo Isla as chairman. Investors have not welcomed the change in Inditex's top management. The Spanish stock giant has lost 5.64 billion euros after falling 6.1% at the end of the session, in which it was announced that Pablo Isla has been replaced by Marta as chairman of the company. Ortega will replace Isla, who has led the group for the past 17 years, from April the 1st, 2022, while Oscar Garcia Mercedes, until now General Secretary and Secretary of the Board, has been appointed CEO of the company. So Inditex crashing on the stock market yesterday after it announced that it was changing leadership, Pablo Isla departing the company after 17 years, and he's being replaced by the daughter of the founder of the company, Marta Ortega. And investors are worried because they're not sure if she has the experience to run such a large company. But luckily, apparently, she won't have executive powers. Now, there's been an update on the 6% regional language quota that streaming platforms here in Spain will have to abide to. And according to the government yesterday, the 6% quota for regional languages will not affect international platforms such as Netflix, HBO, or Amazon. The country of origin principle included in the European directive that will now be transposed in Spain in the draft audiovisual law approved by the Council of Ministers on Tuesday will mean that the 6% quota in Catalan and other co-official languages will not affect large international digital platforms such as Netflix, HBO, or Amazon, which have their headquarters in other countries. The quota will only affect service providers established in Spain, explain sources at the Ministry of Economy. The first Vice President of the government and Minister of Economic Affairs, Nadia Calviño, has stressed that the draft audiovisual law, which will now be sent to the Spanish Parliament, has achieved a good balance between boosting the audiovisual industry in Spain and attracting investment from these large international platforms and protecting the co-official languages, which, she said, are one of our riches. So the 6% regional language quota not going to affect international companies like Netflix, Amazon, HBO, and Disney+. The government finding a loophole so that these companies won't be affected, and as a result of this announcement, Catalonian nationalists are up in arms, and they are now threatening Sanchez's budget if it excludes Netflix from meeting the 6% quota. The ERC has taken a stand against the exclusion of foreign multinationals, asserting that it contradicts its agreement with the government and threatens to vote against the law during its passage through Congress. The PSOE promised to approve the law only with Esquerra Republicana, and Esquerra will not be able to do so under the current conditions. The draft audiovisual law approved by the Council of Ministers is incomplete and insufficient and does not respond to the needs of Catalan and the audiovisual sector in Catalonia, sources from the pro-independence party said. So Catalonian Independence Party, Esquerra Republicana, not happy with this change. Bad luck. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Gordon. The Irish town is pronounced Dunleary in English, Stuart. Yeah, Gordon, thanks for the comment, and referring to a comment that we saw the other day from an Irish person who wrote part of the comment in Irish, and I had no idea how to pronounce some of the words. So sorry if my pronunciation of the town mentioned in that comment was incorrect. One here from Wicklow Walker. Ireland has more than 75% of the population vaccinated, but is still experiencing a hospital crisis. Any time I have had experience of the Spanish public healthcare system has been fantastic. Not sure if everyone in Spain realizes how lucky they are. Yeah, Wicklow, thanks for the comment, and unfortunately there are a few European Union countries at the moment with high vaccination rates that are experiencing hospital pressure. For example, Ireland, as you mentioned there, Belgium, and the Netherlands. And when it comes to the public healthcare system here in Spain, it doesn't appear to be under pressure yet, and let's hope it stays that way. And I think the majority of the population here do realise that they have a very good public healthcare system. Some people do complain, of course, but that's human nature. And as I have said on numerous occasions over the years on this channel, my experience with the public healthcare system here in Spain has been very good. One here from Pete. Hi Stuart, Pete here from the USA. I went to Spain for a month in September watching your videos. It helped my wife and I make the decision to go. Had a great time going back in January 2022. We are buying a place in Malaga. I hope this new strain doesn't ruin our plans. We love your videos. Thank you. Yeah, Pete, thanks for the comment. Glad you love the videos and that you find the information useful. And you're right, Spain is a fantastic place for a holiday. Plenty of things to do, plenty of things to see, and plenty of wonderful places to eat and drink. So good luck with your next trip in January, and I hope everything goes well with your house purchase. One here from Marta. Hey Stu, great video as always. With different communities issuing different COVID passports, what does a fully vaccinated tourist need to do to get such a certificate? Thank you. Yeah, Marta, thanks for the comment, and again, glad you like the videos. I saw that somebody had replied to this comment, so you probably already have the information, but I'll just put it out there in case anybody else is interested. If you're travelling to Spain from inside the EU, you shouldn't have any trouble getting your hands on a COVID certificate because I think they are available Europe-wide and look fairly similar. However, if you're coming to Spain from outside the European Union, for example the United States, you'll need to have proof of vaccination, whether it be a certificate or another type of document. And if it has a QR code, all the better, because a lot of places scan that QR code to see if you are fully vaccinated. One here from Alma. Thank you, Stuart, for keeping us informed. I have been following your updates with a view of relocating to Spain, which has now come into fruition. Can't wait to enjoy my first Christmas in Spain. Yeah, Alma, thanks for the comment, and good to see that you are moving to Spain and are looking forward to spending your first Christmas here. And I hope that it's a pleasant experience and you get to enjoy everything that Spain has to offer when it comes to Christmas. And finally, one here from David. Well, unfortunately, the tourism sector will suffer again, and many small hotels and hospitalities might suffer the most. And it is possible some will shut their doors forever. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment. And obviously, the tourism sector will be one of the sectors that suffers the most if more restrictions are put in place here in Spain. The sector has already suffered enormously over the last 18 months or so, and to be honest, it needs a break. But the good news is, as we saw at the beginning of the video, is that the government is not planning any more restrictions for the time being, at least internally here in Spain, because the month of December is a very important month for the hotel sector and the hospitality industry in this country. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.